I'm here at Arbor Park this evening on a Thursday night where training is set to get underway very shortly. I'm here with Captain Josh Jackman. Josh, good evening to you.
Good evening.
And I believe you may have hit a landmark very recently. It was your 300th appearance in a Slough Town shirt. It's a massive landmark, as I said. What are your thoughts and feelings on hitting such a distinguished achievement, I guess?
Yeah, I mean, obviously 300 games is a milestone. I think as a player, you kind of try not to get too caught up on individual milestones and things like that, because ultimately you're always worried about winning on the pitch and those sorts of things. But I think when you get to something like 300, you can't help but stop and reflect and think back. It takes a long time to get there. It's a number of years. It's my 9th season at the club now, so yeah, you can't help that. Be a bit nostalgic at that point. So yeah, it's a real privilege and an honour to reach that milestone.
And I'll address the elephant in the room slightly. We did actually try and do something for your 250th appearance last year. It sort of fell apart a little bit. So I'll ask a similar question, which I'm sure you'll remember very quickly. Do you remember your first appearance in a Slough shirt?
I do, yep. Away at Kings Langley. I came on off the bench. I remember I was on the bench for that game. It was a few games into the season. My first, obviously, season at Slough. I think Brad Hewitt went off. Shawnee Fraser went in at centre half, and I came on at right back. And I think we went on to win the game, if memory serves me correctly, 3-2. Charlie Moon got the winner, I think. So yeah, in answer to your question, yes, I do remember it.
You actually remembered a lot more than you did last year, funny enough.
Oh, really?
The scoreline, so it was a good one there. Just to ask you then as well, like I did last year, about the step up you made coming from March Town, who at the time were in step 6, jumping up to Slough at step 3 at the time. It's a massive jump in quality, I would imagine. And obviously at first, in that first season, you only made 14 appearances. So did it take you a little bit of time just to sort of gel in at the club? Of course, you had Sean Fraser in front of you at the time. And did that actually help, if anything, as well?
Yeah, I mean, I think I'd been at March sort of just post-university for sort of half a season or a season. So I'd sort of spent, a good chunk of time playing at university where, the level was very good. There was players that I knew who played in the same team that I played in, who were playing at, step 3 or equivalent in non-league. So I suppose that gave me a bit of a kind of barometer of, where I was at and, the level that I could play at. Obviously coming from March is a fantastic club, it's my hometown club. It's brilliant to have seen them step on in recent years. But yeah, for me it was kind of stepping into the unknown. Obviously I had the introduction made to Bakes, who invited me down for a trial, and obviously then I met the players. For me it was it was a bit of a free hit. It was a case of sort of testing myself out. If nothing came of it, then I'd lost nothing. But I just tried to give it my all. And obviously in that first season made a few appearances, handful of appearances, and obviously that gave me a little bit of confidence to show that I could try and make the step up and just try to keep learning and improving, and hopefully get invited back the next season and go again.
And what was it like with, you joked last year about the dynamic of having so many right backs at the club. At the time we had obviously of course Sean, but also Nathan Smart as well.
Yeah.
How was that sort of managed, basically, with the fact that there was so many sort of players able to play in the right back position? Yeah,
do you know what, I think in the time since then, the right back's obviously a position a lot of people probably feel comfortable to play in, so you naturally have a lot of competition. Whether it's someone's primary position or not, naturally people can play there. But, especially with Sean and Smarty, we actually all got on really well, so that probably made it easier because we would joke about it, but when it came to it, actually we all really supported each other. There'd be times when we'd be messaging on a Friday night if someone had a little niggle saying, I'm not sure if I'm going to be right for tomorrow, probably get yourself ready to start, sort of thing. So there was never any kind of malice in it from individual relationships. Actually, if anything, it was the opposite. It was really supportive. So no, we always got on really well, and it was kind of a joke to be had. And hopefully, if nothing else, it pushed us on individually to be better. And I think ultimately the year that we all probably were most evenly kind of playing was the year we obviously went via the playoffs. So that might say something as well.
And then of course over the years, it's not just been right back you've played in as well. You've scored a fair few goals, funny enough, which we'll show you soon, from left back, which is a bit unique, I would say, for a right back, of course. But then you've also played a little bit further up on the right hand side. I think it's fair to assume that your main position, the one you're most happier in, is right back.
Yeah, I mean, for me that would be, if someone asked me where I played, that's what I would say. But versatility is a useful asset, I think, for a player. And at the end of the day, if you're on the pitch, you're on the pitch. That's the main thing. So if I'm asked to play on the left, I'm asked to play wing back or slightly higher up, that literally doesn't bother me in the slightest. So I think the patterns that you see as a fullback, whether you're on the left or the right, are just mirrored. So you defend in a very similar way. Obviously, you have to adjust. In terms of your playing out, in terms of playing from on your left hand side, and accommodate for that. Making sure that you don't get caught if you've got clear long balls. You want to keep it on your preferred side, but then higher up the pitch, as often wingers do, when they're inverted, you get the opportunity to kind of cut in and shoot. But there's been times again throughout the years in training where you would always kind of rotate sides, so try and get the repetitions in, and getting used to crossing with your left foot and what that might look like. So then when it does happen in the game, you can hopefully you've got the practice to then repeat it.
And then of course something else that's been added to your time whilst here is becoming captain. Of course, I think it's roughly about 2.5 years ago now, wasn't it, when Scott was first appointed?
Yeah.
I'll ask you a similar question to what I did last year. What kind of captain do you feel you have become now?
I think for me, it probably goes without saying. Anyone who knows me, anyone who kind of sees, I'm not the kind of Roy Keane style, if you like. Someone who kind of gives people the hairdryer treatment. I think my style is to try and, I suppose, lead by example in a way. I prepare for games. Try and do all the right things. And do the same on the pitch. But then also try and just give the lads, that encouragement and the sense of feeling good and the confidence that they can go out there and play their best. So, that's probably more of a kind of arm around the shoulder, talking to people on an individual basis and, generally just hoping to get the best out of people and enabling them to feel like they can play at their best. And then, trying to be a kind of a calm head on the pitch, really. I think being able to kind of talk and manage referees and, generally kind of influence things as best as possible on the pitch from that side of things. So yeah, hopefully that's what I've brought since I've been captain, and everyone has their own mould, if you like, but yeah, that's the way that's sort of true to me.
And I mentioned that you have a collection of goals, which I think a few people are surprised about for some reason. I'm not quite sure, because having watched them back, you have a very good collection of goals as well. Do you remember your first goal?
First goal, you stumped me there quickly. Away at Gosport.
Bang on.
Yeah.
I was going to say, you remember that very quickly last year.
Yeah.
And then I suppose just to follow that then, I wonder if this has changed. Which one of your goals is your favourite?
Yeah, well, to be honest, because now where I'm at right now, and since I hadn't scored in so long, Saturday's goal it sits out for me. But I think people would probably assume the Maidstone one, but some of the other ones, just for the sort of moments of them, I enjoyed the Worthing one at home, and probably the Dartford away one, because I think that was sort of at a time when I was still probably sort of establishing myself, and I hadn't kind of got the collection that I can now look back on. So that was kind of a little bit of an individual goal that I enjoyed. I always like looking back on that one.
And just to finish off then, we'll move on to the current season as things stand. As you mentioned, you've just recently scored against Welling, a great header as well. What are your thoughts then for the rest of the season now? Of course, I think it's 15th at the moment in the table. What can we see looking forward to the rest of the season?
I think we've kind of had a frustrating season. I think that goes without saying. Obviously, Scotty's been very open about that in all his interviews, and I think as a squad, we've not probably hit the heights we would have liked to have hit, and especially after a strong start. But I still believe, and I think everyone still believes in each other, that we've got more to give, and I think we still turn up to training every week, kind of with that ambition to kind of get back as close to where we feel we should be as possible. So that means kind of keeping our foot on the gas right through to the end of the season, get as many points as we can, and seeing where that takes us. Because I think we kind of owe it to ourselves, obviously to the fans, and just generally to make the best of the season as possible and to finish as strong as we can.
Well, congratulations again on hitting that landmark of 300 appearances. Hopefully you'll be able to finish out the season and push that tally as high as possible before the end.
Cheers, Colin. Thank you, mate.